be bullied because of the allergy. Hi, my name is Sophia and I'm 16 years old. Through my journey of living with multiple severe allergies, I have experienced many cases of bullying. It is so difficult to get people to understand that those with food allergies are not hypochondriac, which is very real. While such deaths are fortunately rare, this is largely because we think ahead and take special precautions, such as avoiding our allergens, reading every food label, and carrying epinephrine in case of accidental exposure. Before I explain about the bullying, let me tell you about my severe allergies and the effect they have had on my life. At 8 years old, I almost died from one of my many allergies to fish. After suffering a severe reaction such as traumatic secondary or biphasic reaction, later I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) from this experience, as well as obsessive compulsive disorder (OCD). My mother tried different things to help ease my PTSD. I could listen to music, sing, and my mother could massage me, and I could make a checklist so I could reason with myself. I did and do have a lot to handle: asthma and eczema, as well as allergies to peanuts, fish, shellfish, or natrium. With my mom's help, the OCD improved slowly. But then the bullying began. Some kids could chase me around with their hands up, chanting. I ate peanut butter. I began to feel anxious and unsafe in my own school. But peer wasn't the only issue. When I was in grade 3, the parents of my school community held a meeting. The topic? Whether I should be removed from the school. My parents set my needs, which include avoiding bringing my allergens into classroom, could inconvenience their children, and dip into the school's funds. Some argued that if I was that sick, I should be homeschooled. My mother, Panama, stood strong in front of the room of angry and confused parents and tried to make them realize that allergies aren't a lifestyle choice. They are real and very scary. She told them my story and asked them for their help in keeping me safe, saying that if it was their children in this position, our family could be the first in line to help. Her words caused several people to stop and think. After the meeting, many of the people apologized to my mother. Now understanding a little more about food allergies and the finesse and my situation. However, there were still those who were not happy about me attending their kids' school. The story doesn't stop like that. My whole life, I have had to listen to ignorant comments and teasing, but never like what happened to me in middle school. In grade 9, I walked into class one day to discover that my desk was filled with one of my top allergens, walnuts. I was terrified and ran out of the school before I trusted everything. Later on that day, I found out from school staff that nuts were hidden all over the classroom. The students who did this were eventually found out and punished, but they told me that they had their reasons. It seems I was an inconvenience. They wanted to be able to bring nuts to school, so they were trying to use population control. The kids were suspended and had their parents come in for a meeting. Through many situations, I have been told insensitive things, such as that I am not designed to live. I should be homeschooled to get over it, live in the real world, and that my allergies are not other people's problem. After all difficulties I have met, I chose to stand up for myself. When I was younger, I might brush off these remarks as much as they stung, but no more. As human beings, we all need help at some point. All I am asking people to do on my account is to be considerate and kind. Why is that so hard? Everyone is different. No one is immune to a tragedy or a challenge. One can happen at any moment and change your life forever. Why not spend your life on this earth making it a better place, being kind and respectful instead of spreading hate and hurt to other teens with severe food allergies? I hope you have learned, and as I have, that standing up for ourselves is the right thing to do, and it is empowering. Beyond that, I think it is also something we have to do to show others that despite our issues around food, we are just like everyone else.
Hey, my name is John. I am a biker. I love speed. I love motorcycles. I love the feeling of speeding on a straight, long road. There's something very satisfying to do so. All my time I spent for that, so I paid little to no attention to the people around me. My family, my friends, even my sweetheart. They were all under my need for speed. I dream of being able to set foot in all parts of the world. Once my parents asked me and my 2 younger brothers to go on a trip because they knew I liked it. But I flatly refused because I had a trip with another club and said maybe next time. I could see a bit of sadness in my mother's eyes, but then she smiled and said, "Okay, maybe next time." That night we departed. The beginning of the trip was quite favorable, even though I was a bit unsettled, maybe because of the sadness in my mother's eyes. Something I hadn't noticed for the past 12 years. Oh no, I didn't notice the hard bend. I rammed the roadside barrier, turned a few times, and fell off the cliff. When I was lying on the bottom of the cliff, I tried getting up because I thought I was okay. Blood all over me, I could not get up, just lying on the ground. I coughed up a pile of blood. I could smell the blood around and all over me. Everything around me slowed down, my breathing slowed. All I heard was my own heartbeat, which was also slowing down. At that moment, I thought this was how I was going to die. My last thought was about my mother, about her sad eyes at that time. I wish that God existed, that somehow my words can be taken to my mother. I'm sorry for not being a good son. And then I could be taken. I faded away. Waking up in the hospital, I tried to open my eyes, but my eyelids were as heavy as 2 dumbbells. I tried to talk, but no words came out of my mouth. I was breathing through a ventilator. I could think of nothing. My whole body in pain and slowly fading away again. In my coma, I felt that everything around me was very cold, except for my hand alone, for some reason always strangely warm. 3 months later, I woke up officially. Sitting next to my bed was my mother. "Mom," I tried calling to her. My mother turned around, and tears were streaming out of her eyes. She was about to hug me, but suddenly stopped because she remembered that it might hurt me. She told me that she would go to the doctor. It was only after she left that I was able to say 2 other words. "I'm sorry." I closed my eyes. The doctor came in and congratulated my mother. I could hear the happy sound my mother was making in her voice. 2 months later, I was able to walk normally. The doctor told me that I had died in about an hour. Because the fall was so painful, my body was completely shut down because of the pain caused by the accident. And then, after surgery, the painkillers and the pain made my pulse greatly weaken, almost to the dead. So, did I experience death? I don't remember anything. It's just like a long nap. All I feel was black emptiness. After this death, I realized that I should cherish the time I had with those who love me more, that my actions will affect others, that all the personal accomplishments I try to achieve in my life will become meaningless to me after I die. So, I decided to live a good life, to enjoy every moment of happiness with the people I love, hoping to leave something good and positive, even if just a little, for the next generation. And that is my story. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.